All right, so today we will definitely keep continuing to cover some of the testing that we were doing yesterday. And in turn, we'll look at some of that communication, team communication within the streamline of a pipeline, and see how this is going to affect your day to day, right? We want to make sure that we finish up that testing. And we'll also show you how AI is being utilized to rename documents as your client uploads some stuff into the portal. And the AI reporting tool that we have, that not only AI generates some stuff for you, but you can tweak it and make it very, very personalized. And that's what Amelia is going to do today, give you the rundown on reporting. So I'm really excited to get started on that. Okay, so looking at the questions, somebody's not able to hear me. Just make sure you click on the screen so that you can hear me. But I'm sure everybody has been able to hear me. They've been responding to the chats, so thank you for that. Okay, so let me share my screen and we're going to continue some of the testing. All right. So before I get to the testing, I did see something that I wanted to address before we continue anything. Okay, somebody asked, how do I add jobs in bulk? Meaning, all my 1040s, I want to throw them to stage one of my tax preparation pipeline, right? So tax preparation, whether you're in Canada and it's a T1, T2, that's what it's the equivalent of 1040s and like 1065s, etc. Whatever it may be, remember, tags are your friend. So if from all of my accounts, I actually really do want to do that. I want to add all of my 1040s. I'm going to highlight my 1040 tag, and the system will filter all accounts that have 1040. So here it is, right? I'm going to select all accounts. And if you have maybe 1,000 accounts and 800 of them are 1040s, then this will say 50. So the first 50 will get selected, but this button here will say select all. That way it selects all your 800 accounts or your 500 1040s, right? So make sure that this is correctly reflecting the accounts you're going to add. So in my case, I'm adding 17 jobs, right? So notice that you'll have this menu up here, and I'm going to uncheck everybody. It's not there now. So when you check the accounts that you want, and you could do it one by one too, by the way. Maybe I want this one, not that one, but in my case, I'm just going to select everyone that satisfies my filter. And I'm going to add a job. And up at the top, this is how you'll know how many jobs you're adding. Right now I'm adding 17. And then I'm just going to choose my pipeline with it, which is, my tax return pipeline. Since I have a job template, everything fills out automatically for me. The only thing that I have to worry about here is who this is going to be assigned to. If I'd rather do a role, then my preparer needs to be the one assigned to these jobs. And it could be different preparers for different accounts. So the roles would be ideal in this case, especially if you have a big team. Otherwise, if it's just you as a solo firm, then just add your name on here so that tasks are assigned to you, if any, right, in that pipeline. So pretty easy to do bulk, right? Now, I'll show you another way that you can do this. So if I go to workflow and I go to my pipeline, I'll open up the pipeline, I'll add job through here, and what you want to do is select the accounts. Now, this way, unfortunately, you can't do a filter in here, but maybe on the top of your head, it's Robert, it's Jeannie, it's Katie who I want to add, and you can manually add them by searching for them. So this is another way to add more than one client to a job. So hopefully that's clear. Now we already added a job yesterday. It's Katie's account to stage number 1, right? Um, so again, remember, if you want to manipulate what is visible here, you can do that but by going to the edit section. Okay, but I think I'm good to go. And somebody asked yesterday, what if I'm doing budgeting, right? What if I want a job to be an hour and a half to be completed? Then you can use the time budgeting here. If I do save and exit, then you'll see the time budget here. This should be done in an hour and 1.5 hours, right? And I already have that budget here. Remember, we talked about time tracking, and the time tracking, if I started in here, it'll track the budget that you have within this job. So if I click on finish here and I save it and save and exit, it'll keep showing. It was like 2 seconds, so it's not going to take too much time away, but you will be able to keep track of the budgeting. If you do budgeting, right, it's always nice to track that. You'll be able to track that in the billing section that we saw yesterday in time entries. All right, but we want to continue testing. So yesterday we found an issue. We said, why didn't Katie here get the engagement letter? She didn't have new client on there. And because we did conditions, that's why it wasn't working. So we satisfied this by adding this tag so that she would receive the correct proposal. You don't have to use tags for proposals. You could just send one proposal, a general proposal, to everybody on stage 1 and not use tags, okay? But in this case, for example's sake, we are using tags. So it's returning client and new client. And my new client here perfectly now received this proposal. And I'm going to close this guy here. This is in case you need help, by the way, everybody. You can always close this so it doesn't create visual clutter, but it's nice to have that in case you need help in the help center about anything that has to do with a job. All right, so now that we're here, again, we're testing, right? I want to make sure that this moves to the next stage. That's why we have these triangles here. When you see these triangles, that means an auto move will happen. So, Katie, if you could do us a favor and actually get that signed. I am going to open up what Katie's view is right now. And you might see a little bit of a different interface because we are updating this. It's going to look a little bit different for clients, but still really easy to understand. So if we take a look at this, Katie's seeing this client-facing status, right? This client-facing status is something that I chose and will be visible when they hit stage 1. So almost starting, we're starting your tax return soon, right? You can add more info on here, like please complete your engagement letter or whatever you want to add. Okay, so this is what Katie would see. She can open this up and then she would sign it. Okay, I believe at this point she has already signed it.
Yep.
So perfect. I'm going to go back to the portal and go to my workflow, go to my pipelines and look at my stages here. Perfect. So we were on stage 1 and we perfectly moved to stage 2. If I click on this, I will see anything new that has been assigned to stage 2. So let's see what happened in stage 2. It looks like we sent a chat. Okay, so perfect. We sent a chat and you can click on it. It'll open up a new tab and it'll show you how the chat looks like. So these are kind of instructions. Hey, we've sent over an organizer. Let us know if you need help or any questions. And you can chat with your client here. I'm going to close this. They don't need to respond, but if they do respond, you can always continue the chat with your client here. So perfect, that was done. Proposal was signed. And yeah, I have a time entry on here, which is perfect. And an organizer is pending, right? So the organizer is something that the client needs to complete. And again, if I as a firm click on it, I will be able to see a little bit of like the back end of what this looks like. So if I toggle these guys on, I will be able to see what's going on with this specific form, if anything has been filled out yet. Obviously, we don't have anything filled out yet. We have 3 dots here on the right, and you can resend this. You can, print this out. You can, submit it on the client's behalf, or you can change the answers on the client's behalf. For now, we're actually just waiting for Katie to answer that. So Katie, please go ahead and answer that, because really what we're testing right now is that everything functions properly and everything goes to the next stage, right? And by the way, while our client there is filling out the organizer, um, you might have 100 other jobs here. So if you want to just filter um, the one account, oops, you could use this. Or if you want to filter just the ones that are assigned to you, then you can use job assignee, right? I'm going to hit apply. And now I've filtered, maybe there's 1,000 jobs. I filtered just Katie, or I filtered just the ones assigned to me. Really awesome part of the pipeline filtering, especially when you're working with a lot of clients. Maybe you only want to filter the urgent jobs, because this one's medium. This one's medium priority, but you can do urgent if it's urgent or high, things like that. All right,
The
good.
organizer's filled out.
All right, perfect. So if that's true, I'm going to do a quick refresh. And if everything's working properly, it should move to the next stage. Yes, it did. So now that we move to the next stage, remember, you can see what's supposed to happen with this lightning bolt. So here it looks like a task needs to be assigned. All right. So let's see if there's a task assigned to somebody. There we go. We have tasks. And you can click on the task and open it up. And you can see who it's assigned to. You can also see who it's assigned to here, by the way. You can reassign it on the fly if you need to. Maybe Regina's out sick today and then we want to assign it to somebody else. You can absolutely do that on the fly. You can actually click complete here. But if I am Regina, and I'm working on this, well, this is my task that was created. I need to look at my instructions in the subtasks. What do I need to do here? Well, start inputting the data in the tax software, right? Make sure they're not missing information in that organizer, right? And, if they are missing something, we can, number one, either tag the account as missing or use the statuses. Remember, you can use a stage as missing information, or you can use a status to kind of like not use a whole stage called extensions or a whole stage called missing information. You can always use the status. So in this case, I'm going to kind of pretend everything's good. My client is provided everything, right? I uploaded, the stuff correctly to the software and I'm good to go. So let me see if my client facing status changed from almost starting to in progress. So this is perfect. I am going to hit complete on here. So what should happen is that this needs to go to the manager review. We don't have anything missing right now. It needs to go to the manager review. Okay. So if I hit complete, remember the auto move is going to happen. So right now I don't need anything from my client. I'm just going to do save and exit. Right. So we moved from in prepped and we jumped all the way to manager review. We're not missing anything. They don't need an extension. And even if they did, and even if I didn't have those stages, remember I was talking about, this guy here, which is the client facing, the job status, I'm sorry, that's internal for only you and your team. And in this case, when I have missing information, I want to create a task and tell my team, hey, reach out to the client and ask for whatever they're missing. So I'm going to skip that for now. We did a demo before on that, um, on how to use client requests, which are really easy, by the way. Client requests are something that you can click on this plus button and do client requests and ask the client, hey, can you upload this for me? You sent me a picture of your shoe instead of your 1099 or something like that, right? Really common thing to happen. Or maybe the picture was really, really blurry, or I mostly saw the pizza in the background and not the actual stuff that I needed. So that happens sometimes, or a lot of times, believe it or not, because every time I onboard somebody, they're like, oh yeah, happens like every year. Not with everyone, but with a handful of clients. All right, so everything looks like it's working. It's moving to the right stage. The task so far was assigned to the right person. Let's take a look at the next thing. So manager review. It looks like there is a task here for a manager, and there's nothing else that needs to be completed. So manager review. I don't see it assigned correctly, so there's nobody assigned to this. So that's a red flag. Something's going on. Nobody got a notification in my team of completing this, right? So who the heck is the manager for this account? I can use roles to assign a manager, or if I am a team of 5 and I have one manager that will always do the manager review portion, right? Then you can choose that person, but we need to correct that. So how do we make these kinds of corrections when something wasn't assigned properly? Really easy to do. So I'm going to hit cancel here, and I'm going to go to my templates. This was a task and it's called a manager review. So let me look for manager review. Here it is, right? And if I want to make sure that this is actually the right one, I click on the check mark, and this manager review is in 2 pipelines. So yes, this is the correct one. Manager review. Let's look at the assignees. It looks like I did assign for the client manager because I created a role called client manager to be the one, but most likely Katie doesn't have somebody assigned to her, right? So because my office only has one manager, which is me, right? I'm just going to add my name. Permanently, I'm the one that should always review this. Later on, if you hire somebody else or you promote somebody, make sure you come back and change this so that the right person gets assigned the right thing. So I'm going to, save that template, because every single time that task is assigned, it needs to be that same person. So for now, going to do a little refresh on here. I think this was another tab. So I just do a quick refresh to make sure that we're on the right page. So, all right, I already fixed that in the template section, but for now, I'm just going to choose the right person, just, for this instance. So now I'm just going to hit complete because I want to make sure that everything is moving forward correctly. So my manager reviewed this. Great. If my manager hits complete, it should move to the next stage, and it did, right? So now we are in the invoice and signature section. Let's look at our tasks to do. So invoice here. Whoops, again, nothing was assigned, right? So something's going on in that invoice. And let's go back to that task. And here it is, invoice. What happened? I didn't assign anybody in the team. And let me go back here. Oops. And in this case, I want my preparer to be the one invoicing. Okay, I'm going to do save and exit. And for now, my preparer is Regina. So just for testing purposes, we're going to be
It
good.
looks like our pictures are in the way.
Oh, are there? Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can rearrange that there. Okay, perfect. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so I've already made that correction to the invoices, who it needs to go to, right? This was assigned correctly because my preparer should also do the e-sign. So let's go ahead and hit complete. Well, not on this one, actually. I'm not going to hit complete just yet. Just kidding. All right, so let's actually do the invoice, right? So if I'm Regina, I need to do an invoice. So I'm going to click on new and I'm going to invoice this client. I'm going to use a template called tax prep, and it should autofill for me. I charge $250, right? I want to send some reminders, at least one, let's do 2 reminders, 3 days apart. And that's it. I mean, because you create templates, and Katie has shown us how to create templates, everything's filled out for me. I can add a little description here, 2024 return, but everything's filled out for me. So I don't really need to worry about anything other than the amount or adding any more line items. I can charge for more, line items here. That's never going to be a problem, but this is auto-filled for me. So I'm going to hit create. Okay. And this invoice is automatically linked here. So I have an auto move. If you don't want, the auto move, meaning I'm going to move to the next stage once the client pays. If that's going to set you back, you can always unlink it. Okay. And you unlink it by clicking on the little X here. Now, another thing, I already finished that task. So I already invoiced. So I'm going to hit complete. And then e-sign. So let's do a quick e-signature. I'm going to click on new. I'm going to click on document, and I'm going to do this sample document that my client needs to sign. I'm going to put it in the 2025 folder. Okay, and I don't really want to notify the client because I'm going to ask them for a signature anyway, so I don't want them to get like a double email or anything like that. Um, I'm not going to mark it as read because, I want to know when it's read, when the client received it. And I can add a description and I can add tags. In this case, let's see, let's do, and remember, these little purple ones are what AI uses. Katie's going to show us how that works in a little bit. Um, but I can use any, I'm just going to use any. Let's see, I'm not sure which one to use. I'm just going to hit nonprofit just for example's sake here. And then I'm going to hit upload. Okay, so this is done. So I'm going to click on the document because it automatically links. Okay, the document links. I'll click on it. A new tab will open and it's going to show us the actual document. If I click on the 3 dots here, I can request signature. Just like how we did it in TaxDome app, you can request a signature through either or. Okay, so I did it this way because I'm showing you how to manually add, the document there. But you can, instead of what I did, go to your tax software, hit print, print to TaxDome 2.0 or 3.0, and then do the signature request and then link it to the job, and you should be, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just a different way of doing it. So Katie, I need you to sign this. I'm gonna highlight her name here and drag her signature. I'm gonna add a date box on here. Remember, you can actually do initials if you need initials to be, added in different spots, and a text field if you need your client to like maybe add their phone number or like some information, and they'll be able to fill that in. So you might have a small form that they might need to fill out. I don't suggest you use a really lengthy form, but something that your client needs to type in would be nice. Um, Again, you could do reminders here for signature requests, and you could do an additional message for the client if there's like a specific instructions that you need to add. Okay, if you do KBA, you toggle this on. Okay. Um, KBA is very specific, right, to certain forms. So if you use it, it's the only time where you would pay $1 for that IRS cross of information, because your client needs to be asked specific questions. So if you don't require it, then don't toggle it on. That's also visible, by the way, in um, the Windows app if you request a signature from there. So always look for the KBA if you require it. I'm going to hit send. Okay, and we should be good to go. I'm going to go back to my previous tab. I'm going to hit cancel because for now, what I want to make sure happens is that there is a movement to the next stage in the automation. So if I open this, um, I already did the invoice. Hope I didn't hit save. And I already sent the e-sign, right? So I'm going to do save and exit. So Katie right now is doing the signature, but before that,
I've gone ahead and signed.
oh, okay, perfect. So it's not going to move to the next stage yet, even though she signed. Why? Because we still have the invoice pending. Okay. If we have an invoice pending, then we're going to sit here and wait for the client. Again, if you want to skip that, you can click on the X here, or you can actually manually move it to the next stage. Okay. If we are still waiting for that payment. But I'm going to show you, like, let's pretend the client received the email with the invoice. They clicked on pay. They input their card information and they paid. At this point, it should move to the next stage. But because we're not really doing a real payment, I am actually going to do a quick offline payment, which is kind of simulating like if Katie paid me in cash, right? So she has a $250 invoice, and I'm just going to say she paid in cash. And you can pay it off right away. I'm giving a credit because she paid cash, and please pay this off right away. So if I do that, then it's paid off. And you can do that while you're testing as well. Okay. So everything looks like the payment went through because it says paid, right? And if I take a look, if I refresh this actually, we should move to the next stage. And yes, we did. So if it doesn't move to the next stage, again, you got to take a look at what's pending here. You got to take a look at what's, whatever has this little triangles here that is impeding the movement to the next stage. So the rule of thumb is everything that needs an action needs to be satisfied, whether it's a task or a signature or an invoice. It all needs to be satisfied to move to the next stage. I think that sometimes it gets confusing for clients. So just FYI, that's how that works. Let me know if you're seeing any questions that stand out, Katie or Emilio, and that I can answer with this walkthrough, because we're actually almost done. So if I take a look at my stage here, I'm under e-filing. So that's kind of the final stage, right? Now, I want to make sure that the client is receiving the right client-facing statuses. So this is the client-facing status. And let me show you, if I click on edit, how this is looking like if I scroll here. So when we were on stage one, I have an automatic client facing status that I don't need to add it on here because I have that on my job template. Remember, that's the form that autofills for you when you create a job. When I hit stage 2, I want this to change to in progress, and it did. It's going to stay in progress until, I tell it to change. So if in prep I want it to be a different thing, then I would add a client facing status here that probably still in progress, but I would say something like, thank you for providing, whoops, providing your documents and information. We are currently reviewing. Okay, that's something that I want my clients to see when they hit that stage. And when they hit manager review, I do have something called in review already. And then when they hit this stage, I want to say almost done. We need your payment, right? So they'll see that up at the top. And then we have the e-filing. So let's check that that's true for this client, right? I'm going to go back to Katie's account, and I'm going to go to info, and I'm going to go to log in as client. I want to see what my client's looking at this point. All right. So right now, they don't have anything pending. They only have that client facing status. And what does it say? It says e-filing. We're currently e-filing your return and everything is almost complete. Remember, you can manipulate this as you need. If you do use the missing info stage, you can probably um, have something that says account on hold. You have some information missing. Please complete, a client request that we are doing to continue, right? So this is really nice to always be manipulating and programming that into your pipeline. All right, so let me click on this guy here to go back to where I was, my actual account. I will go to workflow, pipelines, and I'm going to look at my pipeline. The filter should still be there. Okay. Filtering just Katie. And because the system uses cookies, that's why it's there. If you kind of like clear your cookies and catch, then the filter will kind of reset. But it's nice that it maintains a filter for you until you reset it yourself. All right, so we're almost done here, and it looks like we do have something pending, and it wasn't assigned to the right person. So we want to make sure that it's assigned to the right person. And remember, how to do that is we go back to the task and make that correction. Okay. So for now, I'm just going to say that this is complete because I just want to make sure everything moves along. I don't have anything else pending. Save and exit. And we are officially done. So my client should see a client facing status that says done. All tasks within the job have been completed. You may view the deliverables and provide your feedback. I mean, again, this is just like jargon. Add what you want, maybe you want a Google review. Maybe you want just to, thank your client. In this section, I actually have an email that I sent to the client that kind of let them know that everything is good to go. And notice that Katie was a new client and her tag has updated now to returning client. And I did that automatically because I made the system change it for me. So going to the very last, the triggers here, I said update the account tag from new client to returning client. Send a thank you email, and the client facing status. So I am officially, I officially tested this. Everything's good to go. I had to rework some of my tasks so they correctly go to the right person in the team. And I should be, good to go with this specific pipeline. If you have more pipelines, you want to do that same thing and, add a job, go through each stage, invoice yourself so you see how your client receives that invoice and what they're going to look at, right? Because somebody asked yesterday, how does my client pay the invoice? Well, send yourself an invoice because you'll see that you'll get an email on, and they could just click on pay invoice and it'll direct them to the payment window to get that done. All right, so I'll pause here and make sure we address some questions.
So we have a couple questions related to invoicing. Here is the first one. And we have a couple questions that are pretty similar to this.
Okay.
So the staff prepared an invoice, but it needs to be reviewed by a manager before sending. Is there a way to prevent it from sending to clients till it is reviewed? And there's not. Once an invoice is created and saved, it's going to be available on their portal. So while you can keep it from actually emailing to the client, they would see it on their portal. So they
Yeah.
would be able to pay it without it being reviewed, without it being edited to add anything. Once it's created, it's just there. There have
Yeah.
been requests to have TaxDome kind of change that. But again, you can go into feature requests and upvote that so that so that we know that is a requested feature for you guys.
Yeah, so that's a good, thanks for pointing that out. So what you could do kind of like as a workaround, if you don't want to notify your client via email, like, hey, you have an invoice, you will, when create that invoice, you click on new and invoice. There's a section called here, email invoice to client. So you would toggle this off so that they're not emailed, and you can create this invoice, and like
Can you
Katie
show
said,
that again real quick?
yeah,
We had the question up, so it couldn't
yeah.
visible.
Oh, thank you. So again, you're in the job here and you want to invoice somebody, right? So it's automatically linked, because you can always create an invoice, by the way, from this section. The only difference is that you actually have to select um, the client and link it to the current job. So because right now we're doing a pipeline, I'd rather show you how to do it in here so it links automatically. So I'm going to do invoice, and I'm going to turn off email invoice to client. I don't want to email the invoice to the client, and you can generate the invoice, but when the client signs into their portal, they will see that they have a balance of $150, for example. But your manager can review it and adjust it, and then after adjusting, you can probably email your client about it. But there's ways to kind of mitigate that also, because if you go to, like, I'm going to go to Katie's account, and if I don't want certain notifications to get to Katie, I do notification preferences, and I could do toggle off invoice and payments, so they really don't get any notifications at all until I say so, right? And this is something that you could potentially do for now, until maybe later on we work on something like drafts, generating drafts as invoices. But anyway, in this case, this is a neat thing to do as well. A neat thing to do here also is that if you have husband and wife, and only the wife, is a master of the world, as we all know, they're the ones that should get notified. And maybe the husband doesn't want to get notified. So you can toggle everything off for one of the, even business partners, right? Maybe one of the business partners is not going to be active. They will only be doing maybe a signature, but they don't really need to get notified about everything else. They have their admin do all of the work. And when you hit save, then they'll only receive notifications when a signature is required. So this is a nice thing to understand if you have those picky clients or very particular clients about getting notified. So hopefully that helps a little bit, but yeah, right now there's not a way to create a draft and then get it approved. You'd have to actually generate the invoice, and then you can always manipulate the invoicing. Okay, so if you have an invoice, um, and let me cancel this out. Let's see. I'll delete this. I delete this, then I should have this unpaid.
While you have that unpaid, are you able to also show how to link an invoice to a document?
Lincoln, oh, that's right. So if you have, that, um, a document that you don't want it to be visible to the client until they pay, I'll show you how to do that in a second. So, in the case of this unpaid invoice, if I want to edit it because my manager said, oh, we're missing something, then add that line item that you're missing and then save it. And now, you can actually resend it to the client. So if I save this and, oops, is it done? There we go. Send invoice by mail. That way they can correctly get the most updated version of that invoice. So if Katie here wants to lock a document here, let's look at this. This document, for example, if I click on edit info, um, there will be something called link invoice. I don't have a payment provider because this is a dummy account, right? You would have Stripe or CPA charge linked. And when you click on link invoice, then choose the invoice that you'd like. And that way, when they pay it, then they'll have visibility on their tax return, for example, because you don't want to give them the tax return and then have them run away with it. And, you did a service for nothing and did charge them anything. They have that access to that document, so you can always link any invoice to any document that you don't want them to have visibility on until they pay. So again, whatever document, three dots, edit, link whatever invoice you want to link. It's super easy to do.
And you also have the ability to do that when you're actually uploading the document too.
Yes, that's right. So when we do an upload, it will, give you that information of like linking it over. So really easy to do. I think that's one of, like, to be honest, that feature itself has been the deciding factor for firms to move over to TaxDome, believe it or not, because nobody can do that. And anywhere that I've seen actually, but it's really nice to be able to do that locking feature. So use it, and you want to like add that instruction in one of the tasks. So remember we had an invoice task. As a subtask, add that so that your team knows what to do. Upload the document, link, the invoice that you already generated, link it to so that they can't see the document until they pay. They may be able to sign it, but they cannot download it or view it until they pay. Really, really good, feature to utilize. All right. So now that we've talked about um, testing and how to get through it. And again, if you get stuck sometimes that you can't figure it out either, reach out to our our chat support. They're going to be able to help you out because sometimes you might not be looking at something that is hindering you from moving forward. And our team can always help you with that. Never going to be a problem with our support team. All right. So now, I was there in the document section, and now that we're here, I'm going to actually pass the mic over to Katie because, these kinds of document names, we want to make sure that they are correctly named. So there's an AI feature that Katie's about to showcase that is going to be really, really awesome in kind of organizing what your client sends you, right? So I'll pass the mic over to Katie so she can give us a quick demo on this functionality. Let me stop sharing my screen.
All right, give me just one more second. I need to pull up one more view here.
Sure. While you do that, I'm just going to address a question really quick. So now that I am in, I'm in my pipeline here and we completed a job, right? What do I do with the job that's sitting here? Well, you can leave it there and have like 1,000 jobs pile up on here so that the client has a status that says complete. But if you're good to go, then what you want to do is check mark this guy for this specific one, or check mark this guy so it selects all of your jobs. So if you select this one, it selects everybody. So if you have 100 jobs that are in the complete stage, then they're all going to be there. What is 100% suggested to do is to archive that job, not to delete it. Maybe you want to move that client to another stage. You can't, to another pipeline, which you can. And if you click on move, all you have to do is choose a pipeline that they need to jump to. But at this point, I need to archive this because I want to keep a record of what I did for my client. So always click on archive and not delete. Delete maybe if it's a test like we did today, or if you truly made a mistake and added a job by accident, then I suggest to delete those. But real jobs, make sure you archive them so that you are left with a clean slate. If I remove my filter here, I still have a job kind of lingering here, so that's fine. But just FYI, make sure you archive versus delete so that you keep a record. And then if you go to jobs, if you go to archived, all of my old jobs here are here for reference in case I ever need to see what I did with the client, what I sent to them, what they signed, what they didn't sign, etc. Okay. All right. So go ahead if you need to share your screen, Katie. The floor is yours.
All right. So we are going to start off with this view here. So we have set up an AI for documents. If you go to settings, you've got your TaxDome AI right here on your settings page. You can go and turn on document renaming and assign tags. Document renaming works only when the client is uploading the document. It will rename the documents based off of the form that has been uploaded. It works with PDFs, and then we have started making it work with like JPEGs. So you've got those couple of options. And then assigning tags is, Babby was showing, we have some that have the little diamonds next to them. These are those tags that have diamonds next to them. So you can see everything that we will help you tag, even driver's licenses, passports, security card, social security cards, these, which are super, super helpful. And so we will tag those documents based off of the form numbers that they are. So you can turn both of those on. And then I'm going to show you the client view for when we are uploading those documents. All right. So say I need to upload, or the client needs to upload a W-2. So here I have just a blank W-2 form. So I'm going to go ahead and click upload. We're going to go just upload it to our client upload folder. And then just click upload. And you can see here what the suggested name is. That's what the file name was when I uploaded it. And now it's going to try and change that name. It's going to take just a minute to populate as it reads the form. Now it's going to read the form, but nothing is going to get saved. So you do not have to worry about any of the client's information being saved to our system. It's just a reads long enough to provide the document name. Okay, here you can see what the suggested name is. So it is now suggesting this AI rename, where it's going to give you the year of the document, the type of document it is, the employer name of the W-2, and then it's going to give you the employee name. So this way you have all the information that you need to organize your documents. It'll show you what the original name of the document was. And then if you wanted to restore the original name, you're able to do that. We want to keep this suggested name.
Is this all what the client is seeing?
Yes, this is all what the client is seeing.
Great.
And then we're going to click close. So the client can see, they can let us know that these are not the correct names. That's not what the document is, etc. And they can send feedback, or they can just go ahead and cancel. And then when we go back to the team member view, we're going to go to our client. And here you can see where the first version did not have a name change. Remember, it was stalling, it didn't finish. And the second version has the name change. They also are both tagged with the W-2 because it is a W-2 document. If I were to upload a 1099, or I'm sorry, a 1098, it would be 2025 1098. It would be the company name of the 1098, and then the name on the document, your client's name. So it would be, if it's a couple, it would be, one of the spouse's names, and the tag would be a 1098. And so it will help organize all your documents for you in that sense. So it's super helpful. It keeps your documents nice and organized for you. And you don't have to rename your documents, which is very time consuming when you have to rename documents for every client. And some clients upload, 20, 30 documents. So it is a true time saver.
You're muted, Fabiola, sorry.
Oh, thank you. I was muted. Somebody asked if there is a way to change that formatting, like, how the automatic renaming was. For now, there isn't, but in the future, maybe there will, and we'll definitely consider that as something to improve on. But right now, this is kind of, right, Katie, like the default, it'll rename it according to the analytics of like the document. And the nice thing is that is better than, jargon than the client sense. So it's better than what we had before, but those settings right now to manipulate that, it's not available, but thank you for bringing that up.
At this time, it does not work from the firm view. This is something that is being worked on, but it has not come to fruition quite yet. We're perfecting it, making sure that it works completely before we roll that out. So there's that one. That answers one of our questions.
All right, great.
The only reason it's a duplicate upload is because I was having problems uploading, just because we are running the webinar, and so usually it's very quick. It doesn't have a problem, so that should not be an issue in a normal circumstance.
All right. Somebody also had asked if this, like the automatic tagging that you see there where it says W-2, is that change anything on the client level, or is it just document level?
It is just the document level. And then again, with the system just reads the information and then it trashes the information. So nothing is saved. We reread it just enough to be able to name the documents and tag them, and then we trash.
Yeah, because it kind of looks for keywords, right? Like keywords and the formatting, and it's just like, oh, this must be a W-2. It might not be a W-2, but it analyzes it enough to determine it is, right?
Correct.
So can you do me a favor? Can you click on documents on the left-hand side under workflow? Okay. So, you know, these are all the documents from all clients all combined, and then you could do a quick filter and filter by these tags, right? So if you filter by tags, you should be able to like just get, hey, what are all my W-2s? I just want to make sure that, I group them together, just want to do a quick view on them. And yeah, you might have 1,000, you might have 500, right? And you can further filter if you need to, um, for whatever reason, right? You have the ability to view them in for all clients. Perfect. So thank you so much for that demo. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention on here, or maybe we may be able to move on with our much anticipating reporting?
We are able to move on with our
Awesome.
next topic.
Great. Thank you so much for doing that demo. Um, we're still, seeing how this works. It might not work for everybody because again, the picture or the scan from the client might be really blurry or just not wasn't the best thing. But our AI tool tries to make it better than the original version. It clarifies, it also rearranges the image, the scan in the phone on the client's phone to be accurate. So and legible of everything that's important. I think that's the most important part. All right, Emilio, if you want to take over the stage here and give us some really good you know training, uh, you know, amazing information on reporting. Take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys came here for an advanced bootcamp, so we're gonna crank it up a notch to talk about the reporting. Because this is a very in-depth topic and very complex, we'll start from zero. And I also wanted to do like a sing-along. So we'll do reports together. So please open TaxDome, start going into the reporting section, but I'll let you know when we can start singing together. Now,
Now
let
start
me,
warming up them voices.
exactly. Let me share my screen. Now, if you, let me see. If you're not able to see the screen, the reporting feature on your left side menu, it means that you don't have enabled the reporting feature on your access rights. So if you're not a firm owner and you don't see this tab where it says the reporting, you need to ask your firm owner to enable that reporting for you. If you're an owner or an admin, then you will be able to see it. Now, why is it called AI reporting? Because basically we have a search engine powered by AI that you can type something and it will give you a report. In case you don't want to, do it by yourself, you can always ask it and it will show you an answer. Let me explain. So for instance, I'll ask here, how many jobs do I have in each pipeline? I want to know how many do I have. So if I click on go or click enter, then an AI report will start running and it will create a report that it will show me the amount of jobs that I have on each pipeline. So for instance, there we go. So I can see right here that I have all of my pipelines and here is showing me the total amount of jobs that I have in each one of them. For every report that you create or the AI report that the AI creates, you can see them two ways. You can see them as a chart, like for instance, this one as a column chart, or you can click here to view it as a table. When you think about viewing it as a table, think about it like if you were kind of throwing it into an Excel file. So you will start having columns and rows where you will be able to see the information and then manipulate later on if you would like to filter. So there's a lot of things that you can do in the AI. So for instance, I'll do another example. How many tasks did my team completed last month? So the AI will read what you're looking for and try to generate a report based on what you're asking them. So as you can see, it says that, you know what, your whole team completed 6 tasks in the last month. Obviously, this is very low, but like Fabiola mentioned, we are a dummy account. So, but you will be able to find this type of reports like, hey, show me this, show me that. Now, this will not may work for a lot of complex pipelines reports. Sorry, those we will be able to do them manually, and this is where we're going to start together. So please, now we're going to start doing things together. So please, everyone, go into Report Designer right here on your left side menu. Before you start, this is extremely important, and please make note of it. If you're using TaxDome in time and billing, you need to click here on the top left corner and enable multiple sources, because normally by default, you will only see the workflow. You need to click in this toggle that it says enable multiple sources and select time and billing. If you don't do this, then you will not be able to create reports for time and billing. So this is very, very important to do it before you start building the reports. Now, I know that you guys are very advanced. You are here from the advanced bootcamp, so you probably are very fluent in TaxDome language. But we need to start learning a few more words to use the reporting in an in-depth way. And the words that we're going to learn today are measures, attributes, and, well, dates, but you already know that word. So, but measures. So what do I mean when I say measures in reporting? It means that it will show me things that you can quantify in time and billing or workflow. So if I open this one, I will be able to show things that are quantifiable. So for instance, how much is the amount overdue of all of my invoice? How many hours do I have on a time entry? How many unpaid revenue do I have from from a specific account or specific time frame? On the workflow, how many jobs do I have? How many jobs did I archive them? How many days have a job been on a current stage? How many tasks has my staff completed? So when you're trying to build a report and you think about the things that you want to measure, you will find them right here on the measures with the green color. Then we're going to talk about attributes. This is the way that you will be able to filter that search or narrow that search specific to that report that you're looking for. So think about it like this way. If I want to know how many hours did my certain team member put for a specific account, then what I want to measure is the time entry billable hours. But if I want to know who's the team member, then we need to look for time entry assignee. So measures, we will be in the green color. The blue colors will allow you to filter or create that specific type of report that you're looking for. And lastly, we have dates, which are basically self-explanatory. But the thing about this is that it will allow you to create a time frame from your from the search that you're looking for. So for instance, on the time and billing, I want to see maybe invoice pay date. So I want to see all of the invoice that were paid maybe on last month. So this is how you will think about building a report. First, the thing that I want to measure, then the how you will narrow that search, and then if you need to set up a parameter for that specific time frame. I know, it was a lot. It will get better when we start, working together. So right now, let's put our thinking caps and think about like we were in school, and we'll start doing it together. So if I were to ask you, hey, how many tasks did my staff member completed last month? How would you build it? So think about what the question is. How many tasks has been completed? So we
Please note
know.
that the last 2 pages of our handout do have some cheat sheets related to some of the reports that we are going to show you today.
Yes, thank you, Katie. Yes, yes. I will show you at the end one of my favorite reports that I like to build with the firms, and I added those on the handouts as a cheat sheet. But yeah, thank you. So we were talking about task completed count. So we want to see how many tasks were completed. You can always start looking for the measure that you want. You can also type it here, task. So this way you will be able to filter your search. So I will click here on task completed. Oh, well, actually this one is on time. This is very helpful when you have deadlines. Like, hey, I want to know how many tasks were my staff member completed on time. But for this specific, I'll just want task completed. So please, everybody go and click task completed count. Then I want to know which of my team members did it. I want to know who were the guys that completed those tasks. So how do we call this in TaxDome? We call them task assignee. So let's select task assignee. You can also type it here if you want. Like, there's a lot of ways that you can do this. So you can type it here. And also this is powered by AI. This is starting to share with me like, hey, these are suggestions of the things that you're looking for. So that's why it's also called the AI reporting. Now, we were talking about task completed on account, task assignee, and last month. So we need to go to dates. And please, everyone go. And we have task completed date. So let's select this one. And then let's select this little filter over here. And we will be able to set a parameter. You have an option to do a rolling. So for instance, we can say last month, or we can select a fixed date. Like, you know what? I want it from May the 1st to the last day of May. But for this specific, let's just go to with rolling, and everybody click last, select one, and then month. Then please click apply and click on go. All right, so as you can see, my AI reporting just created this on a line type of chart. This is not very helpful for this type of report. So let's click here on where it says view as table. So if I click view and table, I will be able to see all of the tasks that my team members created, the day that they completed, and the task completed on that day. Now you may be thinking, this report is very weird. I don't like how it looks. It looks something that I don't like. Don't worry, we can create a pivot table. So this will be visually more pleasing for you. So to do a pivot table, you can just click here on this little chart on the right side where it says change visualization. Then click here on pivot table. And we will be able to rearrange our table. I hope everybody's following. Just click here on the right side on change visualization, then pivot table. Now to rearrange this, please everyone click on this little gear right here. And as you can see, we can change the rows, the columns based on what we're looking for. So I don't want to see the daily task completed date. I'm going to drag it all the way to not visualized. And I'm going to change task assignee to the rows and then click apply. So what happens now is that now I can see a table where I can see the name of the task assignee and how many tasks that they completed on count. Something that you may be wondering, why, Emilio, why did you create a pivot table? What was the point of it? Well, it is very, very helpful to do this because we can later add more things to that report. So for instance, let's all of us go now and type right here on the top. Let's type account name
Just a quick
and select.
input here,
There you go.
Emilio. What if they don't have some of the categories,
Yep.
like the measures and some of that? Is it because they probably don't have data in there?
It could probably, they don't have data, or please remember to just enable multiple sources. So you may have now only time and billing. So that's why you're not looking at the workflow. So just make sure that you have both sources enabled. So please click here on the left side, enable multiple sources,
Sure.
time billing
Can you show
workflow.
just one more
That
time
could
how
be
to get there?
one. Yeah, of course. On your top left corner, right here, where I'm trying to, move my mouse, click here. Then enable please this toggle first, enable multiple sources, then click on the workflow, click on the time and billing. Once you have selected both, please click on select, and then everything will be enabled.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So now that we added our account name, you can see that our account name is not visualized. So we will just drag it and add it into columns and click apply. So by doing this, guess what happened now? Now we have a very thorough table where we can see on our columns all of the clients, on the rows, your staff member, and now we can see those tasks that they completed for which clients they did it for. So for instance, Emilio completed 13 tasks last month, and this is how he did it. He completed one for James Potter. This is for Def Leppard, for Carlos. So you can see all of this. And then the staff member completed 6 tasks, and this is how they were allocated. So what we just did, first we saw a report that it was showing us on columns. So you can build reports that you want to see them visually. Then we can do reports that we will be able to see as a table. And then there are reports that we can see them as a pivot table. The pivot tables, if you come here, this is the advanced level. Congratulations. But don't worry, we'll start building up together another report. So let's do one more report. So please everybody just click on the X and we'll build one more report together. So one of my favorite reports that I like to build with my clients is a report that will show us which jobs are lagging behind. Because as you know, we have thousands of jobs at the same time, and it's hard for us to keep track of those that are lagging behind, either for our own fault or maybe it's the client fault. So there's a report that will allow you to understand that, and we're going to build it together. So let's do our single on again, please. So let's go into your left side, and if you want, you can type here pipeline, and let's select pipeline first. Then let's select pipeline stage. Then now we're going to look for account name. You can also, if you want, this is optional, you can add job name. But here's the good part. We're going to look for a measure. Remember, a measure is in green. That is called job days in current stage. So let's select this one. And now let's click on go. So this report is best viewed as a table, not as a pivot table, as a table right here. Remember, we have two options. I'm going to put my mouse again. Oh, we have view as chart or view table. So I'm going to click view table. And this is the report. So how do you read this? Like, what does this even mean? Now, also you can rearrange the columns. So I'll just rearrange this if you want. So this is the way that you will read this. We want to single out the days that are very big. We want to find those jobs that have been in this stage for so many long. So in this case, I will try to look for those numbers that really jump out of the page. So for instance, if I see 181 days that AAA tax has been on draft and invoice, this should be a red flag. Hey, why does this client has been on 181 days in this stage? I don't get it. Hasn't he paid? Haven't we created the invoice? So the way that you will try to do this is try to single out those numbers that don't correspond with with the stage that they're in. If they are an organizer stage and they are, I don't know, maybe 50 days, then you know what? Let's somebody reach out to them like, hey, they may need support to answer that organizer. Or you know what? Maybe they are on in prep and they have been in prep for 30 days. Well, why the preparer has not finished his task? Why is going on? So this is a great way that you can start building reports to try to single out those. And also, this is helpful for when the job reaches the last stage and you forgot to archive it. You can always see that, you know what, this job has been 200 days uncompleted. I forgot to archive it, so I'll just archive it. So just a few things that you can see them. You can also filter like, hey, you know what? This is showing all of my pipelines. I want to just select one. So just go to your left side menu when we have pipeline, click on the little filter, and let's select just one pipeline. So let's click on go, and it will update with only showing you one specific pipeline. So in case you don't want to have them all in just one place, and then you can start creating reports like, hey, this is the job's current days in current stage for 1040. Then you'll build one for the 1120, another one for bookkeeping. This is extremely helpful for bookkeeping. Almost 99% of my clients have told me the biggest issue that I have with bookkeeping is accountability. And you probably will relate to that. This will allow you to say, like, you know what? Why we haven't advanced with this month bookkeeping? Is it because we don't have the statements? Is it because we have uncategorized transactions? Is it because the bookkeeper is lagging behind? You know, whatever reason it may be, this will allow you to single out those jobs and we'll be able to, to say, hey, what's going on? Do we need to reach out? Is it a client's fault? Is it our fault? Because, at the end of the day, if a return turns so many days, they will always be asking you, like, what happened? Why did you didn't reach out when you noticed that something was
We
wrong?
all know it's the client's fault. Come on.
Exactly. Now, I know that you put a lot of effort into this, so you may say, you know, Emilio, I don't want to do this every time. Come on, I don't have time to always be clicking pipeline stage and all that jazz. So please, everyone, click on the right button right here where it says pin. By clicking pin, you will see that a new dashboard was created. You probably will see that it has a very weird number, but don't worry, we'll be able to edit that number and you will be able to personalize that. So this will take me now to the dashboards. So once you have already created all of your reports, you can pin them to your dashboard so you don't have to do them again. So I'll click here on dashboards. And these are the ones that you will be able to do. If you create one, it doesn't mean that every one of your teammates will be able to see them. You need to share it with them. If you make this dashboard discoverable, then you can look for the people in your staff and share it with them. So don't worry, if you're doing something that you don't want to share it with them, like a revenue report or something like that, you can always keep it to yourself and not make it discoverable and not share it with your client. But maybe if you do want to share it, well, you can select all of the team members that you want and they will be able to see this on the dashboard. Now, yeah, so go ahead. Or
is there a way to not see archived jobs?
yes, so if there's a report on the report designer, we have a attribute called job status. Let me see where it is. Job is archived, sorry. You can click here on the filter and you will tell them to exclude the ones that it says true. Because if it's true, it means that it has been archived. So you want to exclude the one that is archived. So this way, it will only show you our active jobs. So going back to the dashboards, now you may be thinking something like, you know what, Emilio, this is not for me. This is too complicated. I don't have time for this. Don't worry. TaxDome has created some personalized dashboards for you, so you don't have to do anything. So there are ones that are for task and jobs. There is one for team capacity and time utilization and revenue monitor. So if I go, for instance, on the task and jobs, they have already built-in reports that, for instance, we have one tab called completed task. So for instance, it will show you task completed by week, task completed by assignee, task completed monthly. So there's a lot of things that you can do here and see, and you don't have to build them yourself. This is a great one, for instance, task completed on time. So for instance, on this date, on this week, Emilio was assigned 2 tasks, but he only completed 1 on time. 1 was overdue. It was wrong by me, but it happens. So you can use these reports that TaxDome has already built for you. So in case you don't want to do this. Now, there is a lot of reports, really cool reports that we can do with the time and billing. And I will show them in a dashboard that I created. But before we get into that, I want to show you how you can create alerts. So if I go to the report designer, I can pick one measure that I want to create an alert from. And one of the most common ones that you can create is unpaid revenue. So I want to know how much money has not been paid to my firm, how much money it's outstanding. So if I just select the unpaid revenue, it will show me how much money it's outstanding. And this type of report is called a KPI report. So this is the only thing that you need to do. Just create one measure, make sure that it's a KPI, and pin it to the dashboard. Once you have done this, that's it. You don't have to do anything else so far. Then you will need to go into the overview, and this is where you will be able to add the KPI on your watch list. So for instance, I have amount overdue, unpaid revenue, task completed weekly. Once you have pinned this into your watch list, then you will be able to create an alert. So I will be able to find an alert on that KPI. Then I will click in these 3 dots, edit alert, and I can make an alert for me in many teammates. So for instance, I want to receive an alert on the unpaid revenue every day at 9 a.m. And the persons who are going to be receiving this is me and this guy. And the custom message that they will receive an email is this. Or I want to receive an alert if it crosses a specific threshold. So for instance, my amount outstanding right now is 34,000. But if I reach over 35,000, I want to receive an alert. So I'll just set up the threshold right here, click on save. And once that alert has been triggered, you will automatically receive an email that says like, hey, the unpaid revenue has crossed that threshold. So I know we're running out of time, but let me show you one of my favorite reports that I like to build with my clients. If you have a dedicated account manager, you can reach out to them and build reports together that are tailored for your firm. But let me show you my favorites. And these reports, they are already in the handouts. So if you would like to build them later on, there's the prompt. There's everything that you need to do to build them. So I'll just explain it real quickly how they do. So the first one is the one that we built together, the one that you want to see which job is lagging behind. So this one is the one that we built together. This one is one of my really personal favorites. So this is the time entry per person per service that will show you the hours. Basically, what it's going to show you is how many hours did your staff member put by a specific time frame, and on what clients did they did it do, and what they did for them. So for instance, the way that you will read this is Emilio worked for Stark Industries for 13 hours, and those 13 hours were divided 4 in bookkeeping, 3 in payroll, 6 in tax. So you can see also at the bottom that these are the column summary for this specific client. So you can see how many hours you're allocating by client, by service. And this is very, very important for you guys that are on the tier pricing model or subscription type model, that you want to see how many hours are you allocating by account based on the services that they agree upon, and if they are demanding too much on you on the tier pricing that they're in. So this is very, very important. I suggest everybody to build it. You can do it as a pivot table. This is one of my favorites. And this one on the left side is showing me the hours. If you're billing by the hours and you have already set up the rates, then you can see the exact same report on the left, but on the right, but showing the amount. So let's take again the Stark Industries as the example. So we put 13 hours that equals to $1,400. If they're paying me, I don't know, $1,200 per month, then based on the cost that it took me to work for those 13 hours, actually I'm losing money with these guys. They should probably be charged more of or rearrange our services. Or you can see if, like, you know what, this guy, we only put 13 hours and we made 960, but we're charging him 1,200. Then we have a profit right here. So this is one of my favorite reports I like to build. Then yesterday I touched a little bit about the time budget per job. Remember that you can put time budget, then you can link the time entries, and you will see the time variance. This is one of my favorites also. You can build a report that will show you all of the budgeted hours that you have, then all of the time that has already been tracked, and then the remaining hours. And the way that you will read this is like, you know what? I have 88 hours that are budgeted. I already work on 60 and I'm missing 28 hours. Do I have the manpower to cover those 28 hours? This is a way that you can kind of project capacity that you're missing. So, hey, do I have 28 hours based on all of the things that I have? So this is a great way to see what's missing. And also, if you're under budget, you will start to see, like, for instance, this one has 8 hours budget. We already went over 8, and this job is not completed, so probably we will go over the budget. So this is a great way to see this. This is a very good one for bookkeeping. So you can see the percentage of the active jobs, in which stage are they in. So we want to see, like, okay, I have 100 jobs. Where are they in? Where are these jobs going in which stage are they in? So for instance, 80% of my jobs are in the collection of statements. So something is wrong. The client is not giving up the statements. We're not be able to download it from QB or as whatever it may be. But this will allow you to see where is the majority of your jobs in which stage, so you can know, like, hey, we have a huge burden in this stage. Why is going on? Let me talk to the bookkeeper. Let me talk to the client. So this is a great one that you can build. Then we have a few with revenue. So you can have one based on the month of the year. So, hey, I want to see how much did I receive on January, February, March, April, yeah, so on and so forth. You can have something like this. Then you can have invoice paid by revenue service. How much money did I made on 1040s, on 1120s, on bookkeeping, on payroll? So you can do this type of reports. Then we have revenue by client. I want to see which clients are making me the most money, so I can send them a basket of muffins or something. You want to see who are your top 10 clients, so you can do something like this. And remember, you can always filter out, you can sort it, like I want to see now the ascending or the sending. You can always switch it out on every report that you create. One of the most important reports that every firm needs is the AI report. As you know, we need to keep track of everything that is outstanding. So you can create a report that will show you the unpaid revenue by client, how many invoices they are pending, and how is that money distributed based on the amount overdue. Like, for instance, this guy owes 7 invoices for $3,000 and he hasn't paid those invoices over 90 days. So this guy is really, taking advantage of us. We need to call him and say, hey, what's up? You need to pay because you haven't paid us in over 90 days. So this is a great report that you will let you understand in which time frame your amount overdue is. And lastly, we have the unpaid revenue that I built for the KPI. So you will also find it here. If you build like a cool report like this, like a dashboard with all of these reports, and then you are on the Monday meeting and hey, you know what, let's all get together and see what's going on, you can always click here on these three dots and click on present. This is really cool. So TaxDome will change into a presentation mode, and you will be able to show it like you were doing like a nice presentation of the report. So there you go. So you will see the name of the dashboard, then start clicking on the right side. And because this is live data, you can always see what's going on and show like a very cool presentation view for all of your staff members. And I know this was a lot. It's okay that you feel a little bit overwhelmed. The key takeaways from this is just to understand the logic. If I want something to be measured, I need to go into the measure, see what I can measure, look for those options that I have. Then I know that I can filter based on the attributes. I can filter by pipeline, I can filter by account, I can filter by assignee. So those are the attributes. And lastly, if I need to put a time frame, we need to go into dates and select that. So the main takeaway from this is just for you to understand that logic on how you can build reports, pin it into dashboard, and lastly, start playing with it because it will take you some time to learn it. But once you learn the logic, it will be very easy to understand and you will be able to create your own reports in no time. And if you have an account manager, I always suggest, creating a meeting with them so we can create reports tailored for your firm. But yeah, I know that this was a lot. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys were able to follow me with this. But yeah, please put your questions and we'll try to answer it, all of us together. Yeah.
So reporting is only available for pro and business accounts. So if anybody has an essential account that was having issues or not seeing anything, that would be why.
Yeah, thank you for clearing that up for sure. And also thank you for that demo. I know it can be complex to understand the reporting. But what Emilio walked you through was, really tailoring exactly what you need, and just showing you how the tools are there available to get exactly what you need out of the reports. Otherwise, my favorite thing to do is just, in the overview section, you could start typing what you want, and according to the AI, it'll kind of understand more or less what you want, and it'll throw a bunch of reports at you, and you can manipulate those that were generated for you and further keep manipulating them. So if you want to do a revenue for the last year, type that in, and it'll generate some reports that you can further manipulate with dates, and do all of these very specific changes that Emilio was able to show us. Hopefully in the future we'll have a very specific training on reporting only, and we'll let everybody know if that's going to happen. But this is definitely highly requested, so thank you so much for that. So again, today we went over a few things, right? We went over how to complete testing. We did a little bit of highlighting on AI renaming, right? It's not always going to be working for everybody, just FYI, the renaming. It's something that still we're going to get, the system's going to get better and better at it. So don't worry if it doesn't completely work for you, but it is available for your clients to have that easy way of categorizing and renaming, especially for you as a firm, if you have thousands and thousands of documents. And also we went over our reporting tool. We went over a few minutes, but we always want to take that extra time with you, answer questions, and make sure that the demos that we have are, as clear as possible, right? Even though they can be complex. So tomorrow we'll have more kind of like Q&A. So even if you have more questions about reporting, we'll be able to help you out with that tomorrow as well. And hopefully Emilio and Katie can help us out, answer questions about any topic that you might have. So thank you everybody for joining
You
us.
can also take any extra questions you have to the community and we can answer them there.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. We're happy to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, the community is awesome. Please use it as much as you can. You'll get notifications when, things get answered or liked, or, I love it. It's like, an internal social media that we have, and very collaborative. So thank you everybody for your time, and appreciate you staying extra time with us. Appreciate Emilia's presentation and Katie's as well. Have a good one, and we'll see you on the next session.
All right. Thank you, guys.